There were two lockers in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room. One had Brian Dawkins on the nameplate, the other had Weapon X. Same guy, same body, but everybody inside that building knew. On game day, the man who showed up wearing number 20 was not the same person who walked in laughing and joking that morning. Teammates watched it happen every single week. The calm voice dropped into something lower. The easy smile turned into a stare that made grown men uncomfortable. And then the real Brian Dawkins, the quiet, soft-spoken one, was just gone. I honestly think to this day that Brian believes that's who he became when he went on the field. Former teammate over 16 seasons, he built numbers that still don't make complete sense. 1,147 tackles, 37 interceptions, 36 forced fumbles, 26 sacks, 9 Pro Bowls. He is still the only player in NFL history with at least 25 interceptions, 25 sacks, and 25 forced fumbles. All three. Nobody else has ever done it. But the stats aren't really the story. The story is how a quiet kid from Jacksonville, Florida turned himself into the most feared safety the NFL has ever seen. Growing up in Jacksonville. Brian grew up in Jacksonville attending William M. Raines High School. Off the field, he was polite, respectful, kept to himself. On it, something completely different showed up. He played football and basketball, helped his school win a Class 3A basketball championship, and practiced harder than anyone around him. His older brother Ralph had played running back at Louisville, and Brian grew up believing sports were his way forward. He wanted to go to Florida, grew up doing the gator chomp, dreamed about playing in the swamp, but that dream ended in one meeting when Florida's defensive coordinator told him his scholarship offer was being pulled because his grades weren't there. That hit him hard, but it also woke him up. He raised his grades, he did what he was supposed to do. Problem was, by then most programs had already moved on. Louisville showed interest, but Brian wasn't sure if it was real or just because of his brother. South Carolina had an offer, but when he tried to accept it, he couldn't even get anyone on the phone. Then his best friend saved his future. Patrick Sapp, one of the top recruits in the country, was being heavily recruited by Clemson. During one of those calls, Sapp told Clemson's coaches, "If you want me, you take Brian too. Package deal. Take both of us or you don't get me." Clemson agreed. And Brian Dawkins had no idea that conversation ever happened. He thought Clemson picked him on his own merits. He found out the truth years later. Either way, the call changed his life. Clemson and the draft. At Clemson, Dawkins didn't just show up. He proved himself almost immediately. He started for 3 years. Finished with 247 career tackles, 11 interceptions, and was a first-team All-ACC selection in 1995. He tied for the conference lead with 6 interceptions that season and earned second-team All-American honors as a senior. Clemson eventually put his name on a Lifetime Achievement Award. That's the kind of mark he left. But the NFL wasn't impressed going into the 1996 draft. The league has always been about prototypes, and Dawkins didn't fit the mold. His combine numbers were fine. 5 feet 11 inches, 189 pounds, a 4.61 40, but scouts labeled him the same way. Tough, smart, limited upside, a mid-round guy at best. Philadelphia saw something different. On April 20th, 1996, the Eagles used a second-round compensatory pick on Brian Dawkins out of Clemson. He was the 5th safety taken in the draft. He later admitted he had no idea the Eagles even wanted him. They hid their interest the entire time. He walked into Philadelphia at 22 years old. New city, new team, newly married, a young son to provide for. On paper, the Eagles got a solid backup safety. What they actually got was something the league had never seen. Learning the game, fighting the darkness. His first NFL season started on special teams. He wasn't the guy yet, but by week 2, the coaching staff had already noticed something different about him. By week 4, he was starting. By week 5, he had sacked Troy Aikman and forced a fumble returned for a touchdown. The Eagles finished 10-6 and made the playoffs. Brian Dawkins started his first postseason game as a rookie, but behind all of that success, he was struggling in ways people couldn't see. "I was putting on a mask every day. I know what that dark place feels like. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's not. It's real, and it was real in my life." He dealt with depression, serious, heavy, real depression. After his rookie year, with the support of his wife and defensive coordinator Emmett Thomas, he started working through it. Thomas helped him see himself the way others already did. Emmett Thomas played a key role early in his career, helping Dawkins understand the potential others already saw in him. A new era, a new level. In 1999, everything changed in Philadelphia. Andy Reid came in as head coach, Donovan McNabb was drafted, and Jim Johnson took over the defense. Johnson didn't want a traditional safety, he wanted a weapon. Brian Dawkins became exactly that. Under Johnson's aggressive, blitz-heavy system, Dawkins' numbers exploded. 4 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks in one season. He intercepted passes in 3 straight games to open the year. He made his first Pro Bowl that year. It would not be his last. Weapon X is born. By 2001, teammates had started to notice that Brian's game day routine was turning into something else entirely. Before kickoff, cameras would catch him screaming in the tunnel, pounding his chest, crawling out onto the field on all 4. That's when the nickname really locked in, Weapon X, based on Wolverine from the X-Men comics. Weapon X is Wolverine before he became Wolverine. He was basically a weapon. He could do everything you needed him to do. That fit. It really did. That same season, he did something no player had ever done in a single NFL game. In Week 4 against Houston, Weapon X recorded a sack, an interception, a forced fumble recovery, and a 57-yard receiving touchdown on a fake punt, all in the same game. One player, one afternoon. Every phase of the game covered. It became known as the Quadrifecta game, and it had never been done before in NFL history. So close, so many times. From 2001 to 2003, the Eagles made 3 straight NFC championship games. 3 times they were right there. 3 times they lost. Nobody felt those losses harder than Dawkins. Then came 2004. Philadelphia traded for Terrell Owens and put together the best roster of the Andy Reid era. The Eagles went 13-3 and finally reached the Super Bowl. In the NFC Championship against Atlanta, Dawkins intercepted Michael Vick, broke up passes, and delivered a hit on tight end Alge Crumpler that set the tone for the entire night. Final score, 27-10. Philadelphia was going to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 39. Jacksonville, Florida, Brian's hometown. Patriots versus Eagles. At halftime, it was tied 7-7. It came down to the 4th quarter. New England pulled ahead 24-14, then 24-21 with under 2 minutes left as McNabb threw a late touchdown. One last drive, one last chance which got intercepted. It remains one of the most painful moments in Eagles history. The legend doesn't fade. After 13 seasons in Philadelphia, contract talks broke down, and the Eagles chose to move younger. Dawkins signed with Denver. At 35 years old, he started all 16 games, recorded 116 tackles, his highest total in 5 years, and made another Pro Bowl. In Week 14 against Peyton Manning, he had 10 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions in a single game. Then came the moment nobody forgot. Week 16, Denver at Philadelphia. Dawkins ran onto that field in a Broncos uniform, and the crowd at Lincoln Financial gave him a standing ovation. Dawkins later described the moment as one of the most emotional of his career.